This video is part of a series helping you to develop effective revision techniques as you prepare for your exams. Today we're looking at how to use mind maps as part of your revision. A mind map, concept map or spider diagram is a way of representing lots of ideas that fit into one overall topic and exploring the links between them. So why might you want to make them part of your revision? Well, firstly, facts tend to be easier to remember when they're organised into some kind of schema rather than just scattered all around. And lots of people find it easier to remember visual representations rather than unorganised collections. So a mind map can help with this. Having that spatial clue of, oh, I remember there were 3 things in the top right corner, can often help you to remember to include something. Using colour can also really help with this. So it's a good idea to use colour or highlighters for particular key words, because sometimes having, oh, it was the purple word, can be enough to jog your memory. The important thing about this though is that you can't just use colour for everything. You don't want a whole rainbow, you just want to use it to highlight key things. Mind maps are especially useful for connecting ideas, so I'd really encourage you to use them for revising your essay subjects, but also they can be useful for science where you're trying to make connections between different parts of the specification. Mind maps are great at the start of your revision when you're trying to summarise a topic. You can't fit every tiny detail onto one page, so you need to make decisions about breaking the topic down into headings and keywords and examples rather than using full sentences. And this really helps you to get to grips with what's the most important thing. Finally, mind maps can be really useful as a memory test. We know that active revision, what we call retrieval practice, where you're trying to remember something, is much better for strengthening memories and for revision in general than passive methods like reading through your notes or highlighting them. And the advantage about a mind map is that when you test yourself, it's really easy to see where the gaps are and what you've missed out. And that's not always the case if you're just trying to reproduce a great big piece of text. So how do you start making a mind map? Well, before you even begin, you need to make sure that you have a complete full record of everything that you need to revise for that topic. A great place to start if you're taking GCSE or A-level exams is the exam board specification. But even if you're in year 7 or year 8, you might have a knowledge organiser where your teacher has pulled out the key concepts that you need to know for that topic, or you could use a textbook or revision guide. Just be aware that these are likely to contain a lot of extra detail that you might not be able to include on your mind map. You could also do this from your own exercise book or notes, but just be aware that this may not be a complete record because you may not have written down everything that you've been told in that topic. The next thing you need to think about is how to lay the mind map out. And just be aware that the first time that you do this, it's very likely that it's going to end up a little bit messy and with some bits being squashed. So if you are somebody who really likes everything to be beautiful, it's a really good idea to just do a quick scribbly first draft in pencil or biro and save the nice calligraphy and everything for draft 2. So I've just been making organic chemistry mind maps with year 11 and I teach that unit across 4 lessons. So I split my page into 4 topics. Now I'm going to think about using colours and capital letters for keywords like finite, but I'm not going to include definitions for words that I know I am certain of. So in this part of the specification, I would say that crude oil is found in rocks and it's mainly made from ancient biomass, which is mainly made up of plankton. And then I might go on to say that crude oil is a mixture of something called hydrocarbons, and maybe that's a definition that I'm less familiar with, or I've got it wrong in the past, I've forgotten that word only. So there I might choose to include the full definition. And likewise, alkanes, that's a new word for this topic, so I might include that. And then I might think about the general formula and go, well, that's a really important piece of information, so actually I'm going to use a different colour. So I'm not using loads and loads of colours, I'm just using a couple to pull out things I really want to not forget. And then I could go on to name these alkanes and then think about what their formulae are and also drawing them. And once I've completed this, then I can go on and do this for the other 3 lessons of this topic until I've got a complete mind map. Doing the first draft of that mind map, or even the second draft where it's all neatly laid out, is not actually the end of the story. Mind maps are great for summarising a topic, but they're also fantastic for retrieval practice. So this is a mind map that I did for my Key Stage 3 physicists, so it's not as detailed as the GCSE one, but you can see that in this second draft we've missed out some key words, and so now their task is to see how quickly they can fill it in. So this is a really good way of checking, have you actually learnt all of the information that is on this mind map? And of course, some of it you'll remember and some of it you won't, so you might want to do this a few different times. Once you've been through that process a couple of times, filling in the gaps of a mind map that you've already made, your next step is to remove even more of the scaffolding and maybe only give yourself the subtopics and see how much you can remember based on those. Once you've tested yourself to see how much you remember, you can then go back over the mind map with a different coloured pen and fill in the gaps of the things you didn't remember. This means that you're going over that forgotten content again, but it also means that when you come back to this topic in a week or a fortnight, you can say, okay, last time these are the things that I forgot, so I really need to prioritise those in my revision. So in conclusion, mind maps are both really useful for summarising a topic and also for retrieval practice and checking how much of it you remember. You need to make sure that you start from a reliable source of information like the exam board specification or a knowledge organiser. You then want to split this up into some major subtopics. When you're producing the mind map, you want to avoid full sentences other than a few key definitions or quotations, and you want to make use of colour, but not everywhere. Just use it to pick out certain keywords. Finally, once you've made the mind map, you want to return to it at regular intervals and practice reproducing it. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you're now feeling more confident about using mind maps in your revision. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more revision videos coming soon.